You ever wonder why some leaders just seem completely disconnected from reality? I mean, they make these decisions that lead to absolute catastrophe, and you're just left scratching your head. Well, today we're going to dive into exactly that. We're talking about a critical leadership failure, the creation of an echo chamber, a bubble so thick the truth just can't get in.
This quote, it just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? The real trap for a leader isn't lying to other people. It's building a system that lies to them. They end up as prisoners in a world they created, fed only the good news they want to hear, while the real world just keeps on happening somewhere else entirely.
And that leads us to the big question. How does a company like Theranos, the one that promised to completely change healthcare with this visionary founder, how does it just collapse into one of the biggest frauds in modern history? I mean, how does that even happen? Well, the answer isn't just one bad choice. It was the whole system, a machine that was built piece by piece called a confirmation network. Its job wasn't to find out what was true. Its only job was to confirm the story, to protect the leader's vision no matter how far from reality it drifted. So let's really break this down. What is this leader's echo chamber? Because it's not an accident. It's a deliberate architecture of self-deception. And once you understand how it's built, you start seeing it everywhere. So here's the most important thing to get. This isn't just about a leader with a big ego. It's an engineered system. It's designed to punish bad news and reward good news, even when that good news is totally made up. In a system like that, reality just doesn't stand a chance. All right, so now let's see how this thing actually works in the real world. Let's go inside the Theranos bubble and see exactly how its leaders built their own confirmation network, step by painful step. They did it in 3 almost clinical steps. First, they showered promotions, bonuses, and access on anyone who brought them good news, even if it was totally inaccurate. Second, anyone who dared to point out a problem, they were sidelined, ignored, or fired. And third, those first 2 steps created this perfect information filter, making sure only the good news ever made it to the top. And just look at the contrast here. This really lays out the impossible choice that employees were facing. You had 2 options. Tell the truth about the technology, the fact that it didn't work, and get pushed out. Or you could play along, support the story, and get welcomed into the inner circle. This wasn't a culture built on innovation. No way. This was a culture of compliance, pure and simple. This quote right here shows you the psychological pressure inside that bubble. It's classic gaslighting. Can you imagine? You're a brilliant scientist, you're looking at a failed experiment with your own eyes, and your boss is telling you it's a success? After a while, you start to question your own judgment, your own sanity even. And that's an incredibly powerful tool for control. Okay, so that was the problem. And yeah, it's pretty bleak. But there is an antidote. The best leaders, they don't just try to avoid echo chambers. They actively build systems designed to destroy them. They go out and look for dissent. This is the question, isn't it? This is what separates great leadership from the kind that ends up in documentaries about massive corporate fraud. How do you make sure you're getting the real story, especially the parts you really don't want to hear? Well, one answer is surprisingly simple. At Amazon, whenever teams were getting stuck in their own internal squabbles, Jeff Bezos would bring a powerful voice into the meeting without anyone saying a single word. He'd just add an empty chair to the room. That empty chair? That was the customer. And suddenly the question wasn't, what does marketing want? Or what can engineering build? It became, what would the customers sitting in that chair want us to do? It just instantly changes the whole conversation, moving it away from internal politics and back to the only thing that actually matters, creating value. But hunting for the truth isn't always some abstract, conceptual thing. Sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty. You know the classic image of a CEO, right? Up in the corner office, totally removed, looking at spreadsheets and reports that other people prepared for them. They're seeing the company through this thick filter of data. Herb Kelleher, the legendary founder of Southwest Airlines, did the exact opposite. He figured the truth wasn't in a spreadsheet, it was out on the tarmac. He didn't wait for reports to come to him. He went to the baggage claim to get the raw, unfiltered reality of his own airline. By literally working shoulder to shoulder with his employees, Kelleher heard stuff that no report would ever tell him. A baggage handler could point out exactly why a gate layout was causing delays. A flight attendant could tell him about raw customer frustrations. He wasn't just getting data,
he was getting context. And in the process, he built this legendary culture of trust. So there you have it, 2 paths. You can build an isolating echo chamber, or you can build a truth-seeking system. And that brings us to the final test that every leader, and really every single one of us, has to face. Because when a company's leadership gets completely disconnected from what's really going on, the results aren't just hurt feelings or bad morale. They show up on the bottom line, usually when it's way, way too late.
I mean, just look at WeWork. Inside that bubble, everyone was winning. Every department's chart was going up and to the right. Sales, crushing their quotas. Marketing, winning awards. Everybody was high-fiving, celebrating their own success. But look at the reality. All those little wins added up to a catastrophic, mind-blowing loss for the company as a whole. We're talking nearly $2 billion a year. That is the ultimate price you pay for an echo chamber.
And you know, this isn't just a lesson for the C-suite. We all have a role to play in this. In our own teams, in our meetings, are we creating a space where it's actually safe for people to disagree? Are we rewarding honest feedback, especially when it's hard to hear? So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Take a look at the people around you, at work, in your life. Do they act like a mirror, reflecting reality back at you, even the ugly parts? Or are they just an echo, bouncing your own voice back, telling you exactly what you want to hear? Because the answer to that question, well, it might just determine everything.